What's going on, guys? I'm Coach Hayes, back inside the 8th Street Gym, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Fast Friday, powered by Once Upon a Coconut. When it comes to developing speed and explosiveness, there aren't many exercises that can compare to jumping. And one of the reasons why jumping is so effective is because it demands intent. You can't fake it. You can't dip your toe in the water when you're about to jump. It's completely unbridled movement, and it requires you to produce force as quickly as possible every single rep. And that's what Fast Friday is all about, helping you train with purpose so that you can become a faster, more explosive, more dynamic athlete, so you start separating yourself from the competition. On today's episode, I'm gonna break down 3 different types of jumps that every athlete should be incorporating. I'm breaking down what they are, how to perform them, and the why behind it all right here, right now. 8th Street Gym, Fast Friday, let's go. When we talk about fully developing any muscle in our body, we better be attacking that thing from multiple angles using different techniques. Jump training is no different. If you're doing one type of jump over and over in your program, man, you're leaving a lot of meat on the bone in terms of full development. As coaches, as athletes, if we want to truly develop explosiveness, we need to be attacking our jumps from multiple angles. That means producing a lot of force, producing force quickly, and producing force horizontally as well as vertically. Let's break down each type. Hey, before we get into today's drills, I want to give a huge shout out to Once Upon a Coconut for powering this series and for hooking us up here in the 8th Street Gym. I know today there's a ton of sports drinks out there and it can get a little overwhelming, but coconut water has always been nature's very own sports drink. Once Upon a Coconut has figured out a way to put that into a can, and they absolutely nailed it. The flavors are all incredible. It's refreshing. I use it pre-workout, during my intra-workout, and even during my post-workout shake with my personal favorite, the chocolate version. Mix that with a little vanilla protein. I'm telling you, if you don't know, you better find out. It is awesome. If you're looking for a better way to stay hydrated, definitely check these guys out. Appreciate the love. For our first type of jump we need to be doing in our programming, let's talk about force production. This is all about teaching our bodies how to generate as much force as possible. I like accomplishing this with 2 different ways. The first, simply adding weight. I'm adding some sort of resistance, whether it's trap bar jumps, whether it's dumbbells in my hand, or a Bulgarian bag across my back. However we choose to add extra resistance, by increasing the load, it requires our bodies to recruit more muscle and produce greater force. We gotta overcome that added weight, which means we gotta produce more force to do that. The second way I like creating more force is I like adding a pause right near the bottom of my jump. Pausing at the bottom of the jump, we remove that natural counter movement and arm swing. Instead of relying on momentum, your muscles have to overcome inertia from a dead stop and generate more force on their own. Both methods are excellent ways to build horsepower that carries over to higher jumps, faster sprints, and more explosive movement. The second type of jump or quality we need in our training is reactive strength. I like to call this quick twitch. Now we're training the body's ability to absorb force and redirect it as quickly as possible. The goal here is to create a rapid eccentric load. We want to force the body to absorb force fast and immediately transition into the next jump. Now, how do we accomplish this? Anything that's going to force our body to get off the ground quickly. Where the first quality was all about producing as much force as possible, where we needed our feet in the ground for a long time to do that. For the second type of jump, reactive strength, we're flipping the script here. We want to spend as little time on the ground as possible. We want to pretend the ground is like lava. We're twitchy here. We're bouncy here. I love using multiple hurdles to accomplish this. I'm jumping over the hurdle, spending no time on the ground, bam, I'm over the next one, over the next one. I love Death drop jumps. I'm using a bench or a plyo box, starting up high, stepping off. I'm falling to the floor. What that does, that rapidly accelerates our eccentric load. This is exactly the quality we're looking for in reactive strength. Band assisted jumps. Dumbbell release box jumps are another great way to create this rapid eccentric lowering on our jumps. And when I'm talking about being out on the football field or basketball court and I gotta make a move out in space on someone, I'm gonna wanna be twitchy. I'm gonna wanna be reactive. I'm gonna need to train like this to fully develop that trait. If we wanna be twitchy and springy on the field or the court, we need to be incorporating some of these reactive or quick twitch type of jumps in our training. The final quality we're gonna talk about is horizontal power. Most sports aren't played up and down. The first base in baseball is out in front of me. That 10 yards, that end zone in football is out in front of me. That's why horizontal power is such a huge piece in athletic development. And it's gonna carry over into what we do out in sports. The number one way to achieve this is broad jumps. I love performing broad jumps in all types of variations. Band resisted broad jumps, split stance broad jumps. I love using med balls, consecutive jumps, double and triple broad jumps, broad jump from a depth drop. We can get creative any type of way that we got to produce force out in front of us to fully develop our explosive qualities. You want to talk about creating an explosive first step? Broad jumps and projecting force in front of us is going to be a great way to help with that. So how do we put this all together? Well, for starters, I like programming jumps 2 to 3 days per week. We usually stay within that 3 to 5 sets, 3 to 5 rep range. Full recovery between sets. Talking power and explosiveness, not conditioning here. Intent is everything when we're talking about jumps. Also, I love incorporating jumps before my main lifts of the day. Not only are they gonna help with force production, they're gonna ignite my central nervous system. They're gonna act as a great neural primer before I get to that heavy lift. Over the course of my career, I've had a lot of success when I've paired vertical jumps before my squat focused training days. And I've had great success when I've paired horizontal jumps before my deadlift or hinge focused days. We're talking speed training. I love pairing vertical jumps, quick ground contact time with my max velocity speed days. And I love pairing my horizontal, more force production jumps with my acceleration focused sprint training. If you're a developing athlete, maybe you're a little younger in high school, early college years, take a good, honest look of your game and find the weaknesses or the qualities you're missing. Maybe you're strong, but not very springy or twitchy. Spend a little bit more time on a reactive jump training. Maybe you move quick, but you're not that strong and you struggle producing a lot of force. Spend a little bit more time on that force production type of training, those weighted or pause jumps. Use your weaknesses, fill the gaps in your full development in terms of explosiveness. If you're a more advanced athlete, maybe you're at the pro level, you're later in your college years, think about what the demands are of your sport and your position. If I'm a lineman in the trenches, inside the box, I'm gonna benefit more from force production type quality jumps. If I'm someone that plays out in space, a skill player in football, maybe volleyball or basketball player, I'm gonna benefit more from reactive training, where I gotta put my foot in the ground and make a move. If I'm a baseball player or soccer player, I'd spend a little bit more time with that horizontal type training. That's gonna really help me with that explosive first step. The goal isn't to completely ignore the other categories. We just simply want to place a little more emphasis on where we'll have the biggest impact for you. Whether it's the position you play or the weaknesses you have, let that determine your programming in terms of jump training. So there you have 3 different types of jumps that every athlete should be doing in order to fully develop their overall explosiveness. The next time you're looking at your workout program, don't just ask whether or not I have jumps in my training. Ask yourself, what type of jump am I doing? Am I producing enough force? Am I producing that force quickly, being reactive? Am I producing force horizontal? If you're checking all three of those boxes, then you're building a more complete, robust, explosive profile. And that's what we're trying to do here for Fast Fridays, helping you become a faster, more explosive, a more dynamic version of yourself. Hey, if you found that video helpful, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned to the 8th Street Gym channel on YouTube because there's a lot more where that came from. 8th Street Gym, Fast Friday, how to become more explosive, 3 different types of jumps. Are you kidding me? Let's go.
8th Street, come on, feel that burn.